mythology with the water horses?
I can. How many of you have read the Scorpio Races? Okay, so they say that with a good novel, the mark of a good commercial novel is that it should pass the elevator test. That means that if you were holding said book and you got into an elevator and you had just one floor to describe to your elevator mate of what the book was about, you should be able to do it without difficulty. And so you'll notice that Shiver passes this because someone can get into the elevator with you and you can just say, oh yes, it's about a girl who loves the wolves behind her house and a boy who has to become a wolf every winter. And I mean, ding, the door opens up, perfect. I mean, even lament and ballad work out for that because you can say, oh yes, homicidal fairies retold in a modern setting. Ding! Done. But then you get into the elevator with Scorpio. Oh yeah, what's that book about? Well, it's set on an imaginary island, and every November horses come out of the ocean and they gallop up and down the shore and they catch them and they ride them and the horses eat people and there's baking. And by this point, they're clawing at the wall. So the Scorpio Races is based on the legend of the Irish water horse and the Scottish water horse, the Cabal Ishka, which I first read about when I was a small and tiny maggot in Catherine Briggs' An Encyclopedia of Fairies, which is a big out-of-print book which lists everything that could possibly kill you in Britain supernaturally as of the time of writing. And so I remember reading about this legend, and it says that every November these horses jump out of the ocean and gallop up and down the beach, and if you can catch one of them, they will be the best horse you have ever had. But if they catch you, they'll drag you back into the ocean, and later just your lungs and your liver will wash up on the shore. And I read this and thought, this is the best story I've ever. Now, in all fairness, at the time, I desperately wanted a horse. And my parents were very strict about most things, but they were very permissive when it came to animals. They said I could have a horse as long as I learned to take care of it, build the fence myself, and earn the money for the horse myself. I'm not sure how child labor laws are in North Carolina, but in Virginia they're terrible, and so I worked all summer and I could afford nothing. The only horse I could afford was a fresh, off-the-track, thoroughbred racehorse named Bella. And her options were basically be my lifelong best friend, become a can of dog food. She chose lifelong best friend. Also, some of my friends might say it was easier to be dog food, but anyway, she chose lifelong best friend. Bella had been racing for 7 years, and she seemed intent on racing for the next 7 years. When you got on her, she always went faster, turned to the left. Everyone thinks that it's a joke. It is not a joke. So, riding Bella was not so much about your relationship with horses or your horsemanship skills. It was more about your relationship with God. Because you climbed onto her back and you just ran through every single prayer you knew until she finally finished running you through neighbors' yards and under trees, and my favorite, into strangers' garages. Anyway, so this idea of horses that you love really dearly but were probably going to kill you before you reached the age of majority in Scorpio Races is practically autobiographical. Questions? Yes.
Are you aware of the Scorpio Races Festival currently going on Tumblr?
Am I aware of the Scorpio Races Festival currently going on Tumblr? Are you? I am actually. They sent me a message about it, and I have not said anything about it because I am not posting anything until November 1st, which is because it's the first day of November, someone will die. That was a creepy way to end that.